And yeah, for sure. Another game and another team that we're going to talk about here, Waynesburg and Washington, the return to that rivalry, the Battle of I-79. Waynesburg comes back into this conference, moving down from 3A. They went 2-8 last year, 0-7 in their 3A conference. They got 6 starters on offense back, 7 on defense. They're going to have weapons. I'm questioning the depth in the trenches. Obviously, you're a lot more bullish on their trenches depth than I am. What are the Raiders going to look like now that they're not playing that tough conference anymore? Now that they're playing more local games and they have a little bit of talent now in the backfield.
Yeah, you wouldn't think getting beat up by some of the best teams in the state of Pennsylvania the last 2 years for the Red Raiders would help, but it is. They're not playing the likes. And before I even get into that, just look at how difficult that conference has been. I mean, they've been in it for the last 2 years, but the last 4 years, so since the state of Pennsylvania went from 4 classifications to 6, for each of the 4 years in AAA, the I would say that conference is called the Beaver Valley Conference because everyone in that conference is in the Beaver Valley, other than Waynesburg. But you look, the first year, Beaver Falls won WPIL and AAA out of that conference. They play Waynesburg. Quaker Valley went on their Cinderella run for a state championship. They play Waynesburg. Aliquippa went on and won out of that conference, won a state championship. And then last season, Central Valley won WPILs, made it to the state championship, lost to Wyoming area, and probably the best game in Hershey last year. A lot of the games were blowouts. So the one that comes to mind is Southern Columbia absolutely slaughtering Avonworth. I believe it was like 79-14 or something. And that says a lot considering Avonworth was up 7-0 at one point. But back to the task at hand, Waynesburg, them getting that experience in that tough conference at AAA, then bringing back what they have. They what they have on the offensive line is size. I mean, they have Luke Maley, who's about 6'5", and then they have Skylar Swartz, who's the big sophomore. He'll step up this year. He goes about 6'7". So those are going to be some big boys there for Waynesburg, as well as the other interior linemen. Darnell Johnson back at quarterback will be big. Look at Nate Stevenson to have a big year in the backfield, as well as others to step up. I think this Raider team is going to open a lot of eyes this year and surprise a lot of people. Not saying they'll beat the likes of McGuffey and Wash High by any means, but I think can be competitive in games. I think they can be competitive with McGuffey. With McGuffey's offensive style, I think that they can be. I think they can possibly be with Wash High, that being a big rivalry game in this area.
Yeah, I think their defense might look a little suspect, though, right now. They lose, I think they had like 14 seniors or something like that. They had a big number of seniors. Now, obviously, not all of those guys played or were impactful, but that's enough to be worrisome, I think, if you're a Raiders fan. They got some athletes. You mentioned Stevenson and Darnell Johnson. Nick Higginbottom also is kind of stepping into his own. Having Darnell Johnson, though, that dual threat quarterback, that's something that's kind of rare in this conference. Well, not necessarily rare because Colby Coons and Braden Boggs are also dual threat quarterbacks, but he's kind of on another level compared to them. How important is having him control the offense for Waynesburg?
Oh, it's huge because, like I just mentioned, not only this team having that experience, but the quarterback having the experience at the AAA level last year in which they played. Him coming down this year, it'll be much easier at the AA level than it obviously was playing the likes of Aliquippa, and Beaver Falls, Central Valley, where you have Division I talent running after you not every Friday night. You're going to have Division I talent, an Andre Porter for Wash High. But you only got to play Wash High once. You don't have that consistency of D1 talent like there was last year. So it definitely helped Darnell Henderson this year. And I look for him to have a big year.
And then I have their most intriguing game, September 18th at Wash High, the return to the Battle of I-79. It's going to be an exciting environment, I'm sure, especially if they allow people in. I don't know if they probably won't by then, but we'll see. But I'm excited to see Coach Chad Koss and Mike Bosnick kind of match up there, and see what they can do against each other. And it's going to be exciting. Seeing Darnell Johnson against that talented defensive line, I don't want to be anywhere else that night. So